Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and the person you hear laughing at me, laughing a little bit at the fact that I'm setting you up, is Lauren Moreno. Hey, Lauren.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm good. And you're here in person, which is wonderful.
I am here in person.
And here now you have to suffer through my introduction of you.
Okay.
Because I met you at the Sherman Oaks Film Festival in 2024 because your film, Palmdale, I know I'm sounding cheeky. Palmdale's just, you're allowed to curse on this festival, on this podcast. So
Okay.
Palmdale's just fucking wonderful. It's one of my favorite movies. I've seen it so many times now. And so Palmdale was at Sherman Oaks Film Festival in 2024, won the Grand Jury Award for Best Featurette Drama. Your lead actor, Isabelle Marchard?
Marchand.
Oh, the D
actually,
silent.
I feel like maybe I'm even pronouncing it wrong, so I don't actually know it.
Your lead performer
Yes.
won the Grand Jury Award for Best Lead Performer in a Featurette.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She really is amazing. But the whole film's amazing. It's just a great film. I've seen it so many times. I keep showing it, to people.
Oh, Jeff.
Showed it to my wife. And then I made my wife watch it again, actually. Because you submitted it to Film Invasion LA, and I saw it.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, remember? Because I was like, I wanted to make sure she remembered that one.
Oh.
It's so powerful. Means so much to me. But we'll get to that when we get to it.
Yeah.
Because, well, first, a few little questions. Is it online yet, or are you still doing a festival run?
Yeah, we're still doing the festival run, so we're definitely still taking it around, so not yet.
So it's not online, so people just have to take my word for it and then pay attention. And I'll cross my fingers that when you do release it someday, you'll send me an email, so we'll put the link to it in the show notes.
Absolutely.
And then people can know that every word I say is true.
Yeah.
But if they're listening to this, they should trust me. I mean, come on.
They should trust you. I mean,
I
would say you have a pretty amazing taste of movies. So, I mean, I saw the festival. All those films were incredible. So
it's a good festival. And we wouldn't have a good festival without great films. So it really is.
Yeah.
In fact, the room I'm pointing, so only Lauren knows. But like 20 feet away from us is the couch where I sit and watch screeners. And if I see like 10, 15 bad ones in a row, I just start to mope, And I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to show at the festival? But then there's always enough great ones.
Oh.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many wonderful, great filmmakers out there.
There really are, and you just have to take your time and have a jury with good taste.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And the right priorities.
Do you remember the first movie you watched?
Ever,
like for, to program? Or how did that even happen, the inception of that?
Oh, that's a good question for another time.
Oh, no.
Because this podcast is about you.
Dang it.
Oh, my God, you're a natural interviewer.
Wait, what?
You're interviewing me.
I'm so curious about that.
And I could tell you didn't know my secret, which is a few weeks ago was episode number 500 of this podcast.
Oh, my God.
You're going to be I could actually tell you your number, but I won't pause to look.
Yeah.
You're going to be like number 520 something, I think.
Okay.
But for number 500, I was the interviewee.
Oh,
I was the
my
guest
gosh.
on my own podcast.
Okay, I got to listen to that one.
So, yeah, and then you'll learn the whole story.
Okay.
I think. Honestly, a friend from high school sent me an email Saturday saying he listened to it, and I was like, oh, fuck. I didn't think people you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It was super complimentary and wonderful, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Josh. But, when I submitted to that interview, I didn't realize that, I just thought the film festival people would hear it. It never occurred to me, oh, I have friends who listen. Like people I grew up with.
That's really special.
Now they heard all my craziness.
I'm sure they know you're crazy.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That reputation does precede me.
Yeah, I'm sure that's just a part of who you are. But that's just so interesting about you. The visual, just you saying that made me think of instantly, I don't know, just it made me think of you how many years ago when you started it,
we started in 2016.
Okay, 2016.
So that's why this is the 10th anniversary this year.
Wow.
And I can't remember the first one I saw, but I do remember films from the very first festival.
Wow.
And some of them were just excellent.
Yeah.
But it was actually that first festival. that I realized I had to be really fucking anal about what films get in.
Oh, yeah.
Because I do the Q&As, and back then we had other jury members and board members who weren't even at the festival.
Yeah.
And some people like to do favors for friends, and then I'm sitting there going, what am I going to say about this movie during the Q&A? This is a piece of junk. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So after our first year, it's all high quality, I think.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense because you want to believe what you're saying, you know. You don't want to just like... And yeah, because then it just feels inauthentic, and it's like, okay, well, what am I doing if I don't really truly believe in this or in this story? Like, I'm lying to these people.
So you're getting me to talk about myself.
Okay, sorry.
But I have to share this because it's funny, and I always like to be funny if I can. Which is, there was a guy, and I didn't like his film at all.
Okay.
And I started his Q&A with, I really respect how you had a lead character who was completely unlikable. Well, can you tell me about the decision of like having your lead character just be, and he's like, well, thank you so much. And he went on and on about his, but I mean, it was just like, it was just a bad movie.
You were just digging for straws there.
I was just like, all right, well, I can't talk about all the other bad stuff, but I can point out that you had the guts to have an unlikable lead.
That's so funny.
All right, so your lead is likable. So anyway,
okay.
The question is,
yes,
we're going to get started.
All right.
What got you into the creative arts? Here you are. You wore many hats on Palmdale.
Yes, I did.
In fact, you probably did not give yourself full credit for all the hats.
I think that's just in general, you know, when you're just making a movie for the first time, you know, you have to kind of do everything, and you don't really have the luxury to be able to kind of be like, okay, I'm just going to direct, you know, which I think thankfully I love all aspects of it. I love producing. I love editing. I love casting. I just love the whole part of it. It's just the most incredible thing, being able to just collaborate and create something from nothing.
Exactly. Technically, you are the director of Palmdale. Mm-hmm. You co-wrote it with Madison Fitz.
I did, yeah.
And you didn't give yourself a producer credit that I see.
You
might have given... At least on film, I think we suck the data from Film Freeway.
Oh, okay. Maybe
so
I didn't put myself on it.
So you didn't list yourself as producer. You might have given yes, because you were humble.
I definitely think that it took a village to make that movie. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a wild first film, you know.
So it's your first film.
Yeah.
But tell me, when did you first get interested in film?
So I'm from Los Angeles. So I'm from the San Fernando Valley specifically.
Me too. We're both natives.
Yes, we're both San Fernando natives, or the San Fernando Valley.
We're Valley people.
Yes, we're Valley people, and I'm very proud of being from the San Fernando Valley. And I went to performing arts school, junior high school, and I started out as an actor. And
so now I got questions.
Okay.
So even middle school, performing arts. So you got interested in acting earlier than grade 6.
Yes. So, well, I guess 6th grade. So I was a very shy kid. I've always been like a silent observer of life, just kind of, you know, wishing I could just secretly like have a secret cloak on me so I could just watch people. I know that sounds crazy, but
no, it doesn't. I would love to have that thing from Harry Potter, the cloak of invisibility, and just walk around observing everyone. Yeah,
literally, that would just be the most incredible thing. And I remember, you know, when my mom, we would go on drives, I just remember being like watching people, thinking about the other people in their car and like, oh, what is their life like? Who are they? So I've always kind of just been drawn to storytelling. And so I started, I went to performing arts school, and then my mom, she was like, I need to put you in sports or something because you're so quiet, and I need you to kind of like be more, you know, social, more, I don't know, have more confidence, or just kind of be more out, outgoing. She's like, I'm trying to raise a CEO and you're too quiet. And so basically that's what she was saying. And so she put me in sports, and she said the first time that she saw me on stage, she was like, oh my God, Lauren is going to like forget her lines. She really believed in me. She does actually believe in me, but she was like, oh my God, she's going to forget it. And she said that she saw me and she was like, oh my God, she's great. She's
right.
wonderful.
So she knew performing was for you.
Yeah.
And if she wants a CEO's got to know how to lead a meeting and get up and talk.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that was also the first time I had ever felt like I was good at something. It was, I was raised listening to musicals. My mom loves theater. My whole family loves movies. So it was something that I had always been surrounded by. So anyways, jumping a little forward, in high school, I went to performing arts school. I didn't believe in myself. I thought like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. There was a lot of other school people that went to that school that were they were very talented.
Was this Loxa?
It wasn't Loxa, but it was Hamilton. It was Hamilton Music Academy.
I just made that face because my lovely wife went to Hamilton.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so
Go figure.
Wow, that's really special. Oh, how cool.
But she was never on stage. She was
what was she
in the magnet
do?
program?
Yeah, I was
in
the magnet program.
Yeah, the magnet, but I know she graduated I'm not supposed to say what year she graduated.
Don't say it.
I could finger it.
Yeah, you could show me, but that's okay. So
we're a lot older than you, needless to say.
But what do you know? Whether she was like in musical theater? Or
I don't know. I think it was
music?
math science.
Oh, okay, so she was in like the humanities.
I think so. Yeah,
the program. Okay.
Well, this was the 90s.
They still have that.
Yeah.
They still have the humanities. I don't know what it's called, but yeah. Wow, how that is wild.
Yeah. But for her, that was her local high school.
Okay.
For you were driving over
I was
the hill.
driving. So I literally would get up at like 5:00 in the morning. I think our bus was like at 6 something. So my mom would drive me to the bus stop in Pacoima, and I would take the bus. And again, the bus driver, she would always play Steve Harvey in the morning. And so I remember just listening to Steve Harvey's voice and just watching just like the city wake up. And I don't know, that's just, anyways. So I went to high school. I saw a lot of people that were a lot more talented, or at least I thought were more talented than I was. And I just really doubted everything. And so I went to college and I was like, I'm denouncing acting. I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to...
But you did it you were in that program, so you were in plays and stuff the whole 4 years of high school.
The whole 4 years of high school.
So you stayed with it, but you fell a little out of love?
I never fell out of love with it. It was just that I turned my back on it. I was like, I should give this up because I will never have a career in this. I will never make it. So I should go to college and I should get a real job and I should study something that I can actually have a, career doing. So then I went to college. I was miserable.
Do you want to say which school? Or?
I went to UC Riverside. I mean, it was
nice.
it was a great experience,
Yeah.
but my first year we had done Springs Awakening for my last high school play, and they were doing Springs Awakening, the play, at the college, and so I couldn't help myself, and I auditioned, and I got in, and I didn't do it. I told the guy, I can't do this. And he was like, what are you talking about?
So you auditioned and got cast
Yes.
and then said, no thanks.
Yeah, and I said, no thanks. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then after that, I did not audition for anything ever again after that, until my last quarter, because it's a quarter system at UC Riverside. And I called my mom. I was in a math class, and the teacher was like, I guess I'll do I want to disclose that? Maybe not yet. So I was terrible at math. Awful. I'm awful at math. And I had to take like extra classes to even get into the math class. So I couldn't even take the math class. And the professor was like, you got to do something that you love. I don't know how he started talking about that, but he just started ranting about following your dreams and like, do something you love and that you're also good at. And so I was like, oh, what an interesting thing, like to do something you love, but that you also are good at. So I was just ruminating about that. And then finally, I just was like, you know what, let me try one more time. And so I called my mom, and she was like, Lauren, do not quit. Finish the last quarter of this and get your degree. So I finished, and then I went back into the industry, and I started auditioning, and then...
So you got your bachelor's in
sociology and women's studies.
Right. Very nice.
And thank you very much. And then I was hitting a different issue. I was feeling like all of the writing was not very good. I'm kind of like a lighter skin Latina, so I don't like, I had a friend that told me, she was like, you're a passer. So she's like, you can pass for being white. And so it was like, I was like, okay, that's so rude. But she said it in like a comedic way that I was just like, oh my God, like, you're so ridiculous.
I mean, she's sharing what's so shitty about our society, I guess. Like, she's not really at fault for saying it.
Yeah. But so it's fine.
Yeah,
I was just
tough.
like, oh my God, okay. But it was kind of joke. It was fine. I wasn't like upset about it. But it did kind of stay with me of just being like, okay, I've always felt like not Latina enough. You know, I've always struggled with that. And so in casting, you know, there's a lot of stereotypes. So you either like look like the Latina with your like, you're like very curvy and you're like talking about your... It's just, you know, all the kind of generalizations.
They tend to write stereotypes because no matter what anyone says, 80% of the writers are white males.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
Some of them met a Latina, but most haven't. They've just seen on TV.
Exactly. And they think that that's kind of like, you know, all of us. And so that's not all of us. And so they just didn't know where to put me. They were like, we don't know what you are. Like, you're kind of quirky, you're kind of weird, you know, but you're also like, you know, we don't know where to put you. So I was like, you know what, let me start writing for myself. So that's kind of where it began. I wrote for myself, and I wrote my first film, which was, I think, in 2018. I didn't direct it. It was just something I wrote and I produced.
And so you wrote a short.
I wrote a short, yeah. And so my boyfriend at the time, well, he's still my boyfriend, but I don't know why I said it like that. But he was like, I'll direct it. So he directed it, and kind of really watching him, you know, direct me in that. And then he did a film shortly after that. And kind of like watching him do it really was the thing that inspired me to be like, oh my God, okay, like, there's something else, like this filmmaking thing, like there's something in that. And so then I just started filming everything. I filmed with my phone, literally everything. I would just, at work, I would film everybody. I worked on Hollywood Boulevard. I would film everybody on Hollywood Boulevard. I would go out during golden hour and I would film during golden hour. I would film at blue hour. I just became like obsessed with filming.
And you're saying you were using your phone?
I was using my phone.
Yeah. But still, it's a legit camera.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had these like really beautiful Moment lenses. Shout out to Moment. They are...
Oh, you added the lenses to your... Oh, yeah. So you got serious about it.
I got real serious. I had like a little mini rig. I had like a gimbal. I mean, I had everything. I had ND filters. I got like deep into this. And so then I went to LA City College and I was like, so I'm skipping. So my mom was like, Lauren, you're not making any money. So you either make more money or you go back to school. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going back to school then. And so then I went back to school, and one of the teachers really took like a liking to me because I was just so obsessed with cameras that she ended up like referring me to this Disney program. And for like a PA Disney program. So
was it a film cinematography professor?
Yeah, it was a cinema
class. Mm-hmm. Right. So you went to LACC and took filmmaking class.
I took cinema filmmaking class, Cinema 1, 2, and then I met that professor, and then she was just like, So
she could hook you up with the Disney program.
Yeah, she hooked me up with that, and then that's where...
And you applied, and You got in.
And I got in, and it was during COVID. Yeah, oh, thank you. It was during COVID at that time. So it was a PA program, but because COVID was going on, they were like, "Oh, we have this health and safety job." And I was like, "Okay, this is a little different, but let me see if I like this, just because I want to be on set. Like, I've never been on a big set." So I did it. And I ended up meeting my producing partner, Madison, who we did Palmdale together. And her and we both became health and safety managers for Disney. And so when we met each other, we were like, we're going to take over this whole thing. And so eventually we manifested it to be the heads of the department. It was just, and then we made movies at the same time. So then I made Palmdale, and I was like, I just want to make a movie. Like, let me just try. And so that's kind of how it happened.
So you did the thing where you said, all right, I'm ready to make a movie now. Mm-hmm. And you had been studying the cameras and shooting, documenting tons of things.
Yeah.
And so you said, all right. And then you sat down to just write it?
I sat down because I wanted to just do this kind of like very naturalistic thing of Palmdale. I had met a person that was from Palmdale. The story's not based on her. It was just like she kind of inspired me to do something set in Palmdale because my grandma lived in Palmdale. I had remembered like all of our drives over to Palmdale and the beautiful desert and the way that the sun sets over there, and I just really highlighting things that people don't think are beautiful. And I wanted to show the beauty of Palmdale. And so it kind of came from her. It was crafted from just this idea of wanting to shoot, kind of follow her. Very docu-style.
You wanted to make a film, and then you thought of Palmdale as a cinematic place.
Yes.
And for those who don't know, if you don't live in the LA area or even the San Fernando, I don't even know if
not even. It's the Antelope Valley.
Palmdale used to be the community you went through on the way to Vegas.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
But it's like high desert, right? Mm-hmm. And deserts are beautiful.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, so it's also sparse, right?
Yeah, very
sparse, not too populated, although it might be more now.
Yeah, probably more now. But it was just like this idea of just she also. She wanted to be something more, she was kind of a
grandma.
Not my grandma, but the girl that I kind of
the girl you knew from Palmdale.
That I kind of knew from Palmdale. She had a lot of aspirations, and so something about that I just really loved. I was like, wow, this person who's from this area, but she's trying to, she wants more for her life. So it just grew from that. It grew from that idea of like wanting more in life, deserving more in life, and highlighting the beauty of an area that people don't think is beautiful.
And I believe your degree was in women's studies as well as sociology. It
was.
And it's a strongly, and this is a high compliment in my opinion, it's a strongly feminist film.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And in the most perfect way, which is it's not heavy-handed. It's just tells a story that's very authentic to women who don't grow up wealthy, right, in this society.
Yeah.
And your lead character is a young person who makes decisions from that point. I just find it, I think that's one of the many things about it that I admire so much is when you sat down to write this, and I guess you co-wrote it with Madison.
Yeah.
That you really struck at the truth.
Yeah, I was searching for truth, and in whatever that meant. I'm obsessed with just like authenticity and, trying to come from a true place, from an honest place. And I think it is a feminist story. I think the main character is, very strong. She's made a questionable choice per se, but I think ultimately she did it for her family, and she was trying to do it for her brother, and she just did what she thought she needed to do.
Well, and your film is showing that from her perspective, what are her options?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, does she have another option to try to help prevent. I believe it's in the synopsis, so it's not a spoiler to say that like she's trying to prevent her family from being evicted from where they live.
Yeah.
And how else does? I mean, she's about 15, I think.
Yeah, we had her at like she's under 18. She can't work yet.
She's a minor.
She's a minor. Yeah. And
so there's not many legal ways for a minor to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. So she did what she felt she needed to do. Yeah. And even the mom, like one of the things that my producer fought me on, and even Maddie too, a little bit with the writing is, at the end, I don't know if you remember, but everybody was like, they wanted the mom to yell at her after in the car. They wanted her to be upset with her and like, kind of stereotypically be like, oh my God, whatever, scold her. Right. But to me, that's not really what the story was about. It was about this shared experience of something. It was about sometimes life is not this magnum opus thing. Sometimes it is just an understanding, As much as I love everything in the film, it's the final scene. It's the final. No, I could not be happier with your decisions as the director and the creator of this, because it is, I do weep. I weep because the mother, by the way, amazing performance by that actor as well. Catherine's amazing. She's wonderful.
Amazing actor.
Yeah, she's incredible.
And you can see in Mom's face, she knows exactly what happened. Mm-hmm. And she knows that her daughter's in peril. Yeah. And she knows right now her daughter just needs her family.
Yeah.
And to share a hot dog with her little brother or whatever. And it's just, and the mom, we're not big fans of the mom early in the film.
Yeah, no, we're
not. But I suppose I'm going to have to use the words as a parent. But, when you're a parent, parenthood is very rarely told truthfully in film either.
Yeah.
Normally parents are either perfect or flawed, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the fact that she's a little flawed in the beginning and then at the end, she just nails it and the fact that she doesn't get mad and that the girl feels welcomed back home.
Yeah.
That's why I cry. Because as the Flaming Lips told us, happiness makes you cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
If she yelled at her, no.
Yeah, I didn't, it just didn't, that's not what I wanted to tell. Yeah, it was about her seeing her daughter for the first time too, really seeing her and what she's maybe done and how that's maybe caused her to maybe do this. And hugely. Yeah, well, I'm glad I had a couple of people that were like, oh, I love the ending, but it's really cool hearing it from you.
Yeah, no, count me as a, that I just find that so strong. It still would have been a great movie. It would be a great film if Mom was a yeller.
Yeah.
But that's just, it's more powerful the way it ends.
Yeah, I think so.
And it ends on a positive note. Mm-hmm. And I'm picking up that you're kind of a positive person. So why would you have a film that ends on a down note?
Yeah, no, exactly. We went like a little dark and then I was like, no, but I don't know. I think me as a filmmaker, I definitely want to like leave a positive thing, on this earth. I think films have the power to bring people together. I think they're incredibly, I know people always say like, oh my God, we're just filmmaking or we're just making a movie, but it's like, it's really important to me, and I think like we have a lot of power. It's very important storytelling. And I think it's a big, it's a responsibility that I don't take lightly, but
I almost get tired of hearing myself say this, but storytelling, human beings, our brains were made for storytelling. When we were hunter-gatherers, we gathered around that fire at the end of every day. Yeah. And we shared stories. Mm-hmm. And we wrote stories on the walls. And, the only reason we created the written language was to tell stories. Like our brains are designed for all our religions are stories. Like story is everything to us. And now we live in a modern society where like the only story, and no one reads the same books anymore if they read.
Yeah.
So really, film and video, that's that's our campfire. That's our campfire storytelling.
It is. It's our imprint on our timeline. Like, I mean, it's incredible. People later are going to see that and they're going to be like, oh, wow, those people, how they were back then, or the stories that they were telling. Like, it's incredibly important.
And you're telling a story in Palmdale about women and women of a socioeconomic class that don't get a lot of attention from Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to praise you more. And if the mom had just been like a yeller,
yeah,
how stereotypical is that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's not being fair. There's, she got to be kind. That's it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's another thing too. I like in the characters that I want to continue to tell is like even the guy. Luke is not a good guy per se, but there's still something about him.
His behavior is defensible.
It is, and I really wanted to capture also him, a complicated situation that's not necessarily fully black or white. There is some sort of gray area, like I think I liked that he was like, you know what, he had some sort of standard of like, okay, I'm not going to go this far. I don't know. There's something about just layering.
Yeah, even
people.
if he's just afraid of jail.
Exactly.
He should have gotten her phone back, but that's beside
he should have I had other people say, God, you should have at least given her phone back. Yeah, he didn't. But
might not. He probably just wanted to get away as fast as he could.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. See, none of your characters are black and white. It's all shades of gray, and it's all very human and authentic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like because that's life. We make, sometimes.
And that's your first darn film? Well, not really, because there was the one you wrote, but then you didn't direct.
Yes, there was the one that I wrote.
So it's your first directing.
First directorial debut,
but not your first script.
Yeah, not my first script. And I had done, like, when I was in class, I did those, student projects of making, small stuff. But this was, like, the first film I directed, and I had actors.
Well, no pressure, but, like, I hope they're all this good for the rest of No, I mean, it's really... Actually, last week I said to someone, so you must have made a lot of films because this is so polished and so wonderful. And he's like, it's actually my first film.
Yeah.
So you've done the same thing to me, like this thing that totally impresses me. It's legitimately your first time you directed for real.
Yeah. I mean, I just think there's so much talent out there. I think just in general, and now that we have like access to, cameras and like our phones, even though it's limited, but at the same time, like you can tell a great story with very little. At the same time, you do need money, I think, to tell a really compelling story that visually looks beautiful. There's only so much you can do, I think. But that's a separate thing. But there is...
Yeah, and you're pointing out that even if, like, your first film, you were able to borrow locations and borrow this and that, yeah, it's a weird imposition to stay zero budget forever.
Yeah, and you don't want to. I think you want to be able to like get, more, even though the actors that we had, Isabelle, I think that was her second thing that she had ever done, which is incredible. So, we had some actors that were, fairly new, but, you want to be able to like expand. You want to be able to get, higher, just everybody, I don't know what I'm saying, but like...
No, you're aware that you got to go like SAG low budget modified or whatever. Like there's certain deals...
Yeah.
So that the actors,
you want to pay them more. You want to be able to pay for the actors. I wish I could have paid them more. I wish I could have been able to pay more of the crew. I wish I would have just been able to, I gave them the best experience that I could at the time, but I want to be able to like not just focus on everything. I want to be able to just focus on directing, if I can eventually, would be wonderful, so I can just focus most of my attention on storytelling and not have to figure out how we're going to get an RV and how we're going to get this location and how I'm going to negotiate with this guy and how I'm going to make him like, what can I trade you? Like trade my soul for your location. Like, I'm just like, I want to be in a position where I can afford it, and
that's true. 'Cause you have some cool is the word cool locations?
Yeah.
You have some real locations too.
Yeah, we did. We had, it was an RV park, and the owner there was amazing. He gave us like a beautiful deal and was wonderful. And I wanted the actors to really immerse themselves in the environment. So I had them all stay at the RV park. With Gio, the little boy in the story, we picked rocks, so that he could, they were his rocks that he was decorating. I really wanted to create
I remember those rocks. Actually, I love the rocks because it's such a kid thing. Like that's another thing that you did that was so authentic.
Yeah.
Is that like childhood? Just let a kid explore and pick up rocks and then paint them. Mm-hmm. They don't need touch screens and video games.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Also, too, like children are very impressionable. They're always listening. They're always paying attention, and that was another thing that I really wanted to capture with Palmdale is, you are also your environment really dictates a lot, and so I think the character was really trying to I don't even think realizing it, she was trying to create a better environment for her brother.
Isn't that the case that we're more willing to fight for the people we love than ourselves?
Yeah, always.
That's another thing you have in there that's totally true.
Yeah. For sure. That's something that I definitely, absolutely. That's a big theme in just my life in general. But, yeah.
Me too. I don't know what type that makes us.
I don't know. Ridiculous. There's something wrong with us.
If you give me someone to fight for, I'll go crazy. Amusingly, when my wife plays tennis, if someone makes a bad call on her, I'm like, I go nuts.
Yeah.
And if it's on me, I'm like, it doesn't matter.
I've been trying to figure out where that's from. Like, why is it that I'm so willing to just bend over, and just be like, okay, whatever, and not care. And I think I don't know. I think it comes from feeling like inadequate a little bit, or for me at least, it comes from a place of feeling like I'm undeserving, like I'm like it's fine. Like I can take it, like it's okay. Like, cause I don't want to like stand up for myself, or I don't want to fight for myself, or I'm like, how dare I think that I should stand up for myself?
Right. You choose to endure it versus deal with conflict.
Yeah. I just don't want to I don't want anybody to think I'm bad or a bad person, or God forbid somebody thinks I'm like, they don't like me, and I think, I don't know. As I'm getting older, I'm just like, fuck that. I don't fucking care.
I was going to say, as a person with the degrees you have, I mean, there's a lot about women's roles in our society, and that they're not they're not taught to stand up.
Yeah.
Right? They're taught that you have a lot to risk if you get up and climb. I mean, I've always been an advocate for women to be educated, maybe not at the same school, but maybe separate classrooms, because you read all the data about if a young woman is in a math class with boys, she just won't answer questions anymore.
Yeah.
Won't show everyone how smart she can be.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. I think like even just like in my family, I have a lot of strong women that I come from. And at the same time, they are very serving of like they play roles.
Right. They're super strong, but they're caretakers.
But they're caretakers. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with being a caretaker. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it is interesting. I don't know if it's a cultural thing too, but like in a household, it's like it's very patriarchal, and yeah. I mean, we don't have to get into that, but there's definitely.
Although you're inspiring me to ask a question that I failed to 40 minutes ago.
Oh gosh.
Which is siblings?
I have two brothers.
Older, younger?
One older, one younger.
Oh, so you're middle child and only girl. I admit, I I was imbibed from a friend of my whole life, was very into birth order analysis.
Order, okay. Is that like when you're the
Yeah, it's just like the oldest is the responsible one. The youngest is often the entertainer, but you were the entertainer.
My brother, I would say, is I am.
Is the youngest brother the entertainer?
No, I'm probably like literally. No, my brother. No, my little brother is the funniest.
See, that's birth order, according to my friend.
It's true. He is hilarious. Yeah, I'm definitely the person that was trying to keep everything together. I was the worrier. I think the middle child is like the worrier, or they get the burden of like, I don't know. There's something with the middle child.
Well, because you're a younger sibling at first, but then you're not anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't.
I also like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a girl too. Like being with two guys, that played a role. My older brother definitely was a little more wild. I think sometimes the first could be wild. They're either really wild or I feel like they're responsible. And so I don't know. I just remember when I was younger, I was always trying to like make it easier. I was always trying to make it easier for my mom.
Well, interesting because you saw she was outnumbered by two boys.
Yeah.
So why not help her out?
And my dad too,
And your dad, 3 men in the house. And I felt like adding something and I lost it.
Oh, that's okay.
What are you going to do? But, no, I did. I wanted to say, but your mom was clearly clued into something with the CEO comment you made.
Yeah.
Like your mom wanted you to be your own person.
Yes, she did. I mean, her mom was her own person. My grandmother was her own person. My mom she grew up, she lived in a garage and, now she's a dean. And so, got her doctorate later in life. I mean, she is like a badass woman. That if I even get like an ounce of that badassness, like she's different. She's different from me. We're very different, but we're both strong. We're both very strong. But so I definitely got that from her. And my grandmother, she worked for Head Start, and she was a big advocate for children and for families in hard times. And so, and then my other grandma, she worked for Lockheed Martin, and she worked on airplanes. So just some extremely strong women, but yeah.
Very cool. Well, yeah, because Lockheed Martin has facilities out in Palmdale, yeah?
Yeah, she didn't work at the one in Palmdale. There used to be one in Burbank, a Lockheed in Burbank, and that's the one that she worked at. And she worked behind the Iron Curtain. And it was, and one of the guys that was her boss, he loved her so much. He was like, oh, Ruthie can do anything. She just had this spirit of like, she could literally do anything. And her mom was, she didn't have papers, and I guess you had to have papers, or they had to know like where your family came from. And so the guy actually like vouched for my grandmother, and somehow she got around not having to have the correct papers just because she was such an excellent worker.
Wonderful story.
Yeah, she's pretty wild.
Wow. There's really great stories in your family.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's some great stories. there's some great stories.
And you chose to become a storyteller.
Yeah.
I mean,
seems just like a natural thing.
And now I know that you had a younger brother, and your lead character has a younger brother. Not that it's similar, but you know what I mean. Like what it's like to have a little brother. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, wanting to shield them from things. Definitely didn't have my growing up was a little tough. So just wanting to protect your sibling from that. Yeah, because Los Angeles can be tough. Yeah, definitely. It can be very tough for young people. Yeah. Yeah. No. But yeah. You don't have to go into it if you don't want to. Okay, yeah, I won't go into it, but maybe for another one. Another episode. Right. So because we're kind of tangential to Palmdale in a way. We brought up the character. All right, so and by the way, I mean, needless to say, you writing, producing, directing a film, that takes a lot of strength. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot get to the finish line without just being a strong person.
Yeah, that's true. You have to, that as well, but you also have to have a strong team around you. I think that's really important. I mean, my partner, he's wonderful. I mean, he's super talented, and he's helped me through post, which is, that's kind of where the movie dies sometimes. It lives or dies there. And having people around you that can help you when you're in need and when you're stuck, to help push you, even just to motivate you it means it's everything almost sometimes.
Actually, I was going to ask, because you mentioned post. Mm-hmm. I find the color in your film to be really special. Wow, so is that a lot of color timing, or did you shoot as much as you could at golden hour? Because you mentioned golden hour before, so I know you're aware.
We did shoot at beautiful times, but we had a really incredible colorist, which, again, that's another thing to my boyfriend. He was like, Lauren, we have to have a beautiful color on this. And so we actually got the colorist. I cannot think of his name right now at this moment, but he's the one who did Take Shelter and then also A Ghost Story. So very, very incredible colorist. And we went over there. We flew over to Austin, and, my boyfriend wrote him this beautiful note telling him, we love your film and we'd love for you to, color Palmdale. And he said, absolutely. So we flew over there, and, we were in his space as he was coloring it. It was the most incredible thing, just watching that, seeing how color changes everything. I mean, honestly, I'm going to be honest. I didn't really think that it would change it. I was like, okay, Yeah,
it's a nicety, but it's...
Yes, it's not essential. I was wrong. It totally changed it. And it brought it to another level. I think that, I'm so grateful that my boyfriend was like, let's do this.
I think so, and it makes your cinematographer look even better.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Gavin's...
the cinematography is great. Obviously, you need good cinematography.
Yeah.
But the color really is...
It elevates it.
It really does.
Yeah, it adds a richness to it that I think is just... And thankfully, it's looked beautiful on the majority of screens we've screened on, so I'm like, okay, yeah, he's a great colorist.
See, I didn't get to see your movie at our festival. I was in the theater next door.
Oh, that's right. I remember you saying.
I didn't get to see it on that 65-footer.
It looked, and then I think we did our sound. We did it in 5.1, so it was just it just really sung on.
Isn't it rad to be in like a state-of-the-art theater?
It's so cool.
I got it. I totally... I just even love watching like the Sherman Oaks Film Festival bumper.
Oh my gosh.
I just love being in a great theater.
It's beautiful. Seeing Palmdale on a big screen like that with the music, with the color, just it being so big, it's a totally different experience.
And I mean, pat yourself on the back because you made we call it a featurette because it's
21 minutes.
Yeah, 21. So just over. All right. Well, 20 is our cutoff. So 21 is pretty damn close to a short. But still, you made a 21-minute film, and it holds up on that big-ass screen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like,
not everything does.
Yeah.
It looked like cinema.
No. That's sweet, Jeff.
Right?
Yeah.
In fact, I almost... fine, I will bug you. I mean, I do think... when I watch Palmdale, I see hints of a feature.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was proof of... I haven't asked you if it was proof of concept for a bigger idea or if you just wrote it and this is all you see it as. But I could spend more time with it.
Oh, yeah. We've definitely been... People have talked to us about wanting to make it into a feature. I know the actors definitely, have expressed interest on wanting to make it a feature. I definitely think it could be a feature for sure. I never imagined it that way. I never, it never had a life aside from that. But I think the characters are just so rich that 100% I think it could be a feature. Absolutely.
Yeah, because really, you did. I haven't gotten to say this for a long time, or I've forgotten to, but the term world building we always use for sci-fi or fantasy.
Yeah.
but making a realistic, authentic film, like true to life, I mean, it really is a slice of life film.
Yeah.
You did world building. You created a world.
Yeah.
On the screen, and it's a world that has more stories to tell for sure.
Yeah.
A lot more story.
Yeah.
Amusingly, I love your ending so much that I'm like, oh, just put another 60, 70 minutes in front of what
the front
I
half,
want the same ending. I just want to end in that restaurant again.
You know, what's funny is essentially I think that there is a world in which I think that ending really does encapsulate, I think, the whole story. You know, that's it. Yeah.
And you do need that moment of peril near the end. It can't be in act one.
No. Yeah. That's definitely like the end of the movie. But yeah, a lot could happen in the middle. I mean, the beginning, the middle, the setup. I mean, there's so much. It definitely has a world, for sure.
Isn't it cool? Like you created a world.
Yeah. You know, it's pretty wild. It's pretty incredible. I mean, I don't know how much more we're going, but definitely think, I don't know if we talk about projects after. Or...
Yeah, you actually, normally I would.
Okay.
Once we're done with Palmdale, it sounds so weird, but no, absolutely talk about what you want to do next.
It was just because we were talking about world building. My brother that I been talking to you about, my younger brother, him and I have been writing a story for even before Palmdale. And so I think that's one of the things that I just
to explain
what was that?
A bug zapper. The bug.
Oh my God.
When you got a guinea pig with vegetables around, you get those little fruit flies. So we actually have 2 bug zappers in this room. And,
oh my gosh.
And a bug just got zapped and it distracted you. My apologies.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
But it's better than having bugs fly in front of your face.
No, it's totally better. That's so funny. Anyways, we can talk about that after, but it's definitely...
Well, so you're working on that. Do you have several? Like, are you always just writing some scripts or outlining ideas?
No, I mean, yeah, I'm constantly like kind of thinking of things. But that story, it's a story it's based on my brother's life when he was working as a bag boy at a grocery store. And he was, he wasn't a very good bag boy. And, my brother actually started filmmaking before I did. So he actually was the one who would direct a movie before I did.
So when you were focused on acting, your younger brother was getting interested in filmmaking.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's an artistic family.
Yeah. And which is funny about Chester over here is his first film was about a killer guinea pig. And it was called Cujo, the Killer Guinea Pig. And it was about this ravenous guinea pig, and it was like this kind of very fantastical, like slasher, crazy guinea pig, and I was his main actress.
Well, he had an older sister who acted.
Yeah. So he put me in it.
That's hilarious. When we finish this podcast, I'll show you the picture where I got a picture of Chester, who is a guinea pig, where he looks just like the shark in Jaws. So I did like them side by side. Chester with his one little tooth and the shark.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
No, guinea pigs. If you get on the wrong side of them.
Yeah, they're tricky.
They can't break the skin though, thankfully. But I'm sure that was a funny movie.
It was a funny movie. Yeah, it was a funny.
Yeah, you said your brother is.
Yeah, he's hilarious. So it was so that's always been something that's been a dream of his to be a filmmaker. And so when he was working at the grocery store, he was miserable. And it was during COVID when people were literally like taking toilet paper and paper towels, and we thought the world was going to end. He had a horrible, horrible day, and he was crying, walking home. And he called me, and he thought of an idea, and he called me, and he was like, "Lauren, I have this great idea about this bag boy who's working at a grocery store, and he wants to be a filmmaker." And so then from there, we just kept building, and that's the thing that we're currently working on right now. But yeah.
Very cool. So you're working on that with him and writing down some other ideas when they come to you.
Yep.
And I assume the Palmdale experience was a really positive one. It's sounding like all it did was inspire you to keep moving in that direction.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. What else am I going to do? There's so many things sure, I could do other things, but why? I don't know. I feel like I'm in it too far now that I'm like, I'm going to see it through.
You found your passion.
Yeah. But as stressful as it is, and it is like I wake up, again, going back to the story that I'm working on right now, like I wake up and we're fundraising and I feel dread. Like I'm constantly like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to throw up. But then I'll see something and it'll remind me of a story and I'll be like, oh, maybe I'll shoot that after. Like, it never goes away. Like I don't know, nothing really beats it. So just got to try it.
It's healthy to feel the dread and then it's healthy to move past it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And as long as you can't quit, don't.
Yeah.
As long as as long as you say to yourself, this is what I got to do.
Yeah.
Keep on doing it.
Yeah.
And we live in a really, some might call it a difficult time.
Yeah.
But we don't know what the future of this industry is really going to be like.
I know.
But long term, human beings are not going to let go of storytelling.
No, definitely not.
And as fucked up as the motion picture industry is with what's going on in technology and stuff, they just don't know what to do, I think.
Yeah.
Storytelling's never going to stop.
No, no, of course not. Definitely. I think the way that we tell stories might change. I think verticals, telling them vertically might be something that is happening.
Yeah, my face, I can't help but cringe, but it's okay. The rest of the world can. Look, I'll be a senior citizen soon, so they can have their vertical screens.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That is. That's going to be something I think people are eventually, this is just me thinking what's going to happen. I think people were going to get used to, or the generations are going to get used to seeing things vertically, with their phones. And so I think naturally they might tell better stories in these verticals. I think eventually they'll become better. I think AI is going to become a big part of it. I think it already kind of, is, it's inevitable. It's something that's already happening. So it's like, how do we use these tools? How do we use these things to help us, to help filmmakers? And I think there needs to be caution in how we use them, but ultimately I think it's a tool. I think it's a tool we can use just like CGI, just like VFX. I think it's something that we can work and live, beside.
It is. And when artists are using it, it'll be fine. And by the way, you said exactly what I say to people. People send emails to the film festivals saying, do you accept films with AI? And our response, whether it's me or someone else responding to that email, we just say, we see it as another form of VFX. Yeah. If you use it well, great. Yeah. I've yet to see it used well. Although I might have seen it used well for a few things. Yeah. But it is amusing when you get films with awkward-looking people moving their lips and their eyes and mouth, face don't move, and you're like,
what the heck is this?
You really thought you could make a whole movie with that?
Yeah. People I think some people just are completely, they're just like, what are you doing? But I think there's a lot of things that AI is helpful with, just like, there's a lot of things that it can be useful with, but I don't think it can create stories yet. It's not there.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, and I don't think it ever will. I don't think it will ever replace human people. It's just something that we can use to help with storytelling. But
and it might help level the playing field.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
I guess the people at ILM should be the real ones worried.
Yeah.
Not that I have anything against them. They do amazing things. Yeah. But maybe 5-10 years from now, the film festivals will be getting sci-fi and other types of films that just look as good as what Pixar does.
Yeah, you never know, and there is something there's something exciting about that. There's something exciting about new technology. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm just interested in that. I love evolution of things. It's like, how can we use it? How can it? I don't know. Maybe that's just ignorance, but I feel like.
No, and there's a big difference. You're talking about it being used as a creative tool.
Yeah.
The people who are against it, I mean, I understand the actors who...
Absolutely, yeah.
I actually have met people who were extras on sets who got scanned.
Oh, gosh,
and then afterwards, we're not even told.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's awful. That's criminal.
Yeah,
There's
There's human beings having their likenesses robbed.
Yeah.
That's
wrong.
That's a different thing
Absolutely.
than what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Artists using another brush.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, yes, that's when it gets into the territory where like there needs to be regulations on what these limits are, what these parameters are, because that is crazy. I mean, to sell your likeness and then they can use it for in perpetuity.
Your stolen, like you were just told.
Yeah.
Oh, we're just going to scan 100 of you so that if we have to fill in more stuff in the background, we can.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, they realize, I didn't. I agreed to that, and I didn't get paid anything extra.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to be.
Yeah, that's
in
terrible.
this famous person. It was actually a very famous director.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's terrible.
And that director might not have been aware of what people were doing, but on the crew, but someone knew.
That's awful, and that is that's criminal. It's more so these big businesses that are using it to like not hire artists, and try to do it cheaper, which, okay, I get it. You're trying to do it cheaper, but like the quality of like it has a lasting, there's an effect on that. Like, you're going to burn your own industry that you like, that you're trying to, supplies. It's. Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll get beaten out by the real artists like you anyway.
Yes, they will get beat out by actual real people telling real stories.
They will. In the end, I'm not, there's a lot, I'm not going to lie, there's a lot I'm worried about for the future, but I'm not worried that AI is going to put everyone out of work.
Yeah.
Although
it's definitely going to it's taking jobs for sure.
But it's like it's like digital editing in a way.
Yeah.
Like in my lifetime, we went from cutting film physically to cutting stuff on a computer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a film editor just had to learn that new technology.
Yeah.
So an animator has to learn.
Yeah. How to use
it. But I
it.
mean, heck, my nieces who are like, in advertising, they have to learn how to use AI prompts.
Yeah.
The person who's best at prompting AI gets the best results.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Still need a human.
Yeah, you still need a human. It's going to evolve. It's going to turn into definitely. It's an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I still haven't fucked with it. I still haven't. I make a point of not. I've never used one of the large language models. I know I should. It'd be interesting.
You just try it. I mean, it's just something to. I don't know. I like to not fear. I fear so many things in life, so I really try to force myself to not fear things and just to kind of check it out, embrace it. If I can. If it's bad, then don't use it. But.
I do have some fears related to it that I won't bother with, but. Well, because I don't want to virtue signal too much, but as someone with a teenage daughter, like the AI, the way women are represented in AI, and the beauty standards of like Instagram profiles of fake humans, like
that's wild,
superhumanly, like
unrealistic,
like a Barbie doll is more realistic, I think.
Yeah.
I don't want to know what happens to a generation of young men who grew up looking at that.
Yeah, it's.
I have no idea.
It's like that, but then it's at the same time, it's just like, okay, well, I mean, if we're like, what were kind of back in the day, like what were things that you guys saw back then that were unattainable?
Charlie's Angels and Playboy.
Okay, exactly. And that was also
unrealistic beauty standards.
Unrealistic.
Airbrushed.
Yeah. So I think this is even worse, for sure worse.
Because there's like millions.
And they're not real.
They're not real. And it's on your, Charlie's Angels was an hour a week.
Yeah.
This is 24/7.
Yeah, it's constant.
It's but we'll get through it. There's been worse.
We will absolutely get through it.
Yeah.
I have no doubt, even though I don't know that, but I trust that we'll figure it out as a human race.
I mean, we will actually. I read a really great short story about AI.
Yeah.
It was from like 15, 20 years ago, a sci-fi thing. But anyway, it was, whatever, we will, in the end, human beings need other human beings, and we'll figure it out.
We will absolutely figure it out.
Heck, we're doing all right.
I think we're doing great.
We got good people in our lives.
I think we're doing great.
Excellent. Anything else you want to mention?
Just the film that I'm working on. It's called Bag Boys.
Bag Boys.
Bag
plural.
Boys. Yes, multiple.
I gotta admit, that's a good hook.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I don't think I've heard that title before. And you have not heard me go on my little diatribe about like
You have a
super common titles.
Can you give me the one most common title?
Well, in the last 5+ years, I would guess we've gotten 20 to 40 films submitted called Rideshare.
Oh, really?
So if you write a film called Rideshare,
you write it off.
no, I watch it.
Okay.
But the Uber driver is always the killer. You know? I don't know. Everyone's like, I'm going to make a movie about an Uber driver who kills. I'm going to call it Rideshare. And it's like, oh, I guess it's just out there in the water. There were too many of them.
Right.
But like I had a friend, I'm pretty sure he doesn't listen to this. I had a friend make a film called Seance.
Okay.
And when you try to look it up on IMDb, there's like 78 seances.
Yeah.
And they tried really hard to think of a different title. but you know what I mean? So Bag Boys, that's got a nice hook.
Yes, it does have a good hook. But I will say that just recently, there is this TV show out right now, called Deli Boys, that I was like, what in the world? But it's a little bit different. The story's different.
Yeah, it's different enough.
It's different enough. Also, too, like the Bag Boys, again, it's about this filmmaker that is a bag boy, wants to be a filmmaker, but he sees life in movies. So, and it's about this Latino kid. So there's a lot of things that I haven't seen yet. You know, a Latino filmmaker, a kid who sees life in movies. I guess there's a lot of stores like Superstore. There's a grocery store, Kim's Convenience. But it's different. It's its own thing. It's like Atlanta meets Clerks meets La La Land.
Yeah, God, you almost want me. I should probably let it go, but I almost want to ask about like the Latin community and entertainment and underrepresentation. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we have some channels devoted to underserved communities, but I don't know if there's a really good, successful one.
Oh, yeah. No, there's
for the Latin American community.
There is not.
I guess because needless to say, Spanish, I shouldn't hit that. Spanish language television doesn't cut it.
Yeah, it's different.
Like for cinema and
there's a lot of good foreign, films, but
and there's amazing directors have come out of Mexico in the last. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, cinema is a huge thing, but in Mexico, but I feel like there's not a lot of Mexican American stories. And that's something that Bag Boys and what my brother are really trying to do with this show. It's a show. So we're making it into a short. It's we're trying to make a short, a proof of concept short, I guess. But it's a show. We've written a pilot, and it's about a Mexican American kid, that we don't often really see. I mean, I'm trying to think. There are some shows, like there's This Fool. There was another show called Primos. There's I think it's Vida. Okay, I feel bad not saying it correctly, but there's a couple of shows that highlight Latino stories, but there are very few. And I think we're so anything that comes out that's even has some, any Latinos, I'm like, oh my God, let me watch it. I'm just, because we don't see our stories. So that's why it was really important for my brother and I to, have it specifically be a Mexican American kid, because it's a totally different, that's a different story from like, someone who's Salvadorian or someone who's Cuban, or Guatemalan. Like they're all different, and like one Latino story is not the same. Like we all have all different types of stories. So, yeah.
And needless to say, as someone born and raised in the San Fernando Valley,
yes,
I have noticed the lack.
Yes,
because, well, besides the fact that 5th and 6th grade, I was in a classroom of 26 26 Mexican American kids and 4 white kids, and 1 black kid. That was it.
Yeah,
actually 3 whites, 1 black, and everyone else in the class was Mexican American.
Yeah.
And then you like go through life, and you don't see people on TV.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, you don't. I mean,
I handful of actors I can name, like Esai Morales was always.
Yeah, Esai Morales.
But that's one dude I can name.
Yeah.
Jimmy
Edward
Smits
James
we can
Olmos.
name, but he came across as you said, use the term passing.
The passing. Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot. There it's very limited. So that's one thing that I am committed to really trying to put, more Mexican American stories in front of the camera and even behind the camera, like we're hiring a lot of other crew, it's just so important for us to be able to share our stories. They're just other stories, like movies should reflect the world that we live in. And it's like, okay, if I don't see it, then Lauren, you create it. Go make it, And so that's what I want to do, is I want to, help make those stories.
Well, that's a wonderful place to stop, right?
Yeah.
Because nothing I can say at this point will compare to what you just said.
Okay.
So, website, social media people should follow?
Yes. So you know what? I think you all should follow at Bag Boys Film on Instagram. And then my Instagram handle is Lauren Moreno Films. And those are the 2 things. We have a fundraiser going on. So, if you'd like to check it out and the story resonates with you, definitely watch our Seed and Spark. And yeah.
Excellent. All right. And those will both be clickable links.
Yes.
And we'll double check them before Karina throws them up.
All right.
And I will get us out of here with my closing spiel, which is, well, first, thank you so much, Lauren, for coming here.
Thank you, Jeff.
We could have done it by Zoom, but it's nicer in person.
Definitely.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you're still listening so that I can say like and subscribe, be kind, maybe even write a review. I don't know. If you're still listening, you enjoyed this conversation. So be a nice person. If you want to learn more about this podcast, go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFWins. If you hit the blue sky for at DIFWins, I'll be the one who responds. The producer of this podcast, Karina, she handles the other social media. I have officially quit everything where an algorithm pushes stuff at you and tries to control your brain, because it was controlling my brain. And my little brag for you, Lauren, is I quit Meta products. I quit the algorithm.
Yeah.
And within a week, I was reading a book. Like, I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
My brain was just like, hey,
yeah,
we're not stupid. We're not watching. Believe me, there's a lot of guinea pig and bunny rabbit videos coming my way.
And they're great.
They're great. But it's better to read. It's better for my brain, I think.
Absolutely.
So anyway,
at
DIFWins is the social media handle. And discoverindiefilm.com is the website. If you go to discoverindiefilm.org, that is the nonprofit that runs 2 festivals, Sherman Oaks Film Festival and Film Invasion Los Angeles. Sherman Oaks Film Festival is where we showed Palmdale. You can learn more about that festival if you go to ShermanOaksFF.com, and it's at Sherman Oaks FF on social media. The other one, Film Invasion Los Angeles. The other one, that's not nice. Good thing it doesn't have
doesn't have feelings.
Yeah, it doesn't have feelings yet. It's not sentient.
Yeah, it's not sentient. Yeah.
Just wait.
Just wait.
We hold that every June. In fact, this June we're having the 10th anniversary edition of that, and in December will be the 10th anniversary of the Sherman Oaks Film Festival. But we hold Film Invasion Los Angeles every June, and you can learn about it if you go to filminvasionla.com, and it's at Film Invasion LA on social media. And of course, again, I'm the Blue Sky person. And I don't know if this is new. You probably know this, but if you read, my emails have been going to spam.
Yeah.
So in January 2026, after many false starts in other cities of teams I met wanting to do a film invasion, we are holding Film Invasion Lima, Peru.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
We're going to South America.
Wow.
Lima, in the Spanish Quarter, where it's this beautiful architecture and this beautiful theater, and it's just,
wow, that's
I'm
beautiful.
so excited.
Wow.
So there's going to be Film Invasion Lima.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Woohoo!
Yay!
And, we're going to invite all the alumni of Film Invasion LA and Sherman Oaks Film Festival to submit their films because we don't know how many local films we're going to get.
Oh, that's true.
But I've never been, so I get to fly to Lima next January.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Woohoo! Groovy, and hopefully it leads to more.
I definitely think it will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff.
And thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you.